Thank you everybody for joining us. I'm Jano Lieber, MTA Chair and CEO, here with Rich Davey, the President of New York City Transit, Long Island Railroad President Rob Freak, Kathy Rinaldi, Metro North President, formerly Long Island Railroad, as well, our Grand Dame de Railroads. New York City Transit Senior Vice President of Buses, Frank Annacaro. And the media-friendly Mr. Demetrius Critchlow, Senior Vice President of Subways, not also media-friendly at all times, Quamel Arroyo, ladies and gentlemen, the Chief Accessibility Officer of MTA, a very shy man. Listen, for those of you who haven't heard the announcements that are playing system-wide today, March 18th, is National Transit Employee Appreciation Day. I say to everybody when I see them, thank you. I'm riding all the time. I'm riding buses. I'm riding the railroads, especially the subways. And I say hi to conductors, to cleaners, to platform controllers, to train operators, to bus operators. And we need to do that every day. But today is a national day when we are, all of us, recognizing that we have to show gratitude to workers in our industry who keep New York moving and who, as I said earlier, are frequently dealing with some really difficult situations, and they're dealing with it with courage and professionalism, and they're looking out for passengers. So, we're thanking conductors and operators, station agents, and cleaners. I was one of those today. But also not to forget the planners who schedule the trips. It's a big piece of our unseen back-of-house operation. And the technical folks who maintain the fleet. The New York Times did a great piece not long ago about the folks who work in our shops and yards who do huge, amazing work with overhauling and maintaining the fleet. Every one of our employees is a valued member of the MTA family, and it is a family. And it was my turn to spend the morning with cleaners and platform controllers. It was not an undercover boss. I showed up and in my not hiding my usual role, but it was a chance just to see what they do. And I worked both as a cleaner and a platform controller briefly with folks who together have 60 years at the MTA, 60 years of service to the public. Shirley Zayas, born and bred South Bronx resident, raised her family there. I think she has 25 years. Tim Dungy, who has 23 years, and Kim Quayle, who is a platform controller and is an incredible spirit, who I know from just walking through different parts of the system and seeing her be an incredible customer service professional who brings positive spirit and light to everybody's day. Love interacting with people like Kim. My experience was, they took a dopey chairman and they taught me how to empty out a garbage can and take the garbage into the refuse room. I got to interact with some regular denizens of Grand Central, namely the rats, who occupied the refuse room from time to time. And then I went down and worked on the platform, actually picking up a little bit of garbage. There wasn't much. Scratching off some stickers that people have done. Please don't vandalize our beloved subway system. Cleaning some of the stainless steel. We love to keep everything shining. And then I got to do some highly improvised platform announcements as people got on and off the 4 and 5 train. It was all a little bit of a window into what our folks do every day. And these are folks who worked through the COVID pandemic, not just for years and years, but they actually worked through the COVID pandemic, and they show up every day for New Yorkers. Part of recognizing them is also recognizing that there have been some attacks on our workforce recently, some really despicable stuff that's gone on, and we just are not going to accept it. We are going to push back in every way, starting with what the governor put together last week, which is meetings with the DAs to say we have got to figure out a way to stop letting people who attack subway and transit employees come in and out of the criminal justice system. Last year we had 38 people who were arrested for 43 attacks on transit employees. Between them, they had well in excess of 1,000 prior arrests, and yet they keep coming back. So part of what, out of respect for our employees, that we are doing is we are saying, and under the governor's leadership, we're saying to the DAs and the criminal justice system in general, time to figure out how to make sure that those people do not come back into transit. I'm not a criminal justice expert, so I'm not going to say, did they go to prison? Are they on probation? Whatever it is, we do not want to see those people back doing the same thing to our workforce again and again, and that is a big message for today. Listen, transit workers step up every day, so this week we ought to be acknowledging them. So if you do see an employee, please take a moment to say thank you and acknowledge their very important work. So let's keep the celebrations going and turn it over to the celebrant-in-chief, Mr. Richard Davey.
I feel like I should be popping out of a cake or something as the celebrant-in-chief. No, I'll be brief. First, Jano, you are hired, so if the chairman, while it is working out for you, if you...
As I said, I heard from the cleaners that they had been instructed to write me up for some kind of violation from Richmond.
We keep it real. So just a couple things. First, as Jano said, I am delighted to be here to acknowledge for New York City Transit 47,000 men and women who moved this city, often unsung, unheralded, unnoticed. Sure, we see, platform conductors and conductors, bus operators. We're going to hear from a couple of our all-stars in a moment. But there are a lot of folks behind the scenes who we don't see as New Yorkers moving this city. So we are grateful, and particularly today grateful for all that they do. I've had a chance today to do a few jobs. One of them was to be a conductor on the 7 line, my home line, and Courtney Williams, who is one of our best conductors we have in the system, allowed me to ride with him for a few minutes. He is one of the stars of the show. Courtney, I'd like you to say a few words about your experience and hopefully give a sense to New Yorkers the great work that you do. Yeah, come on up.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Courtney Williams. I've been a conductor in New York City Transit for close to 21 years. And mainly on the 7 line, because I love it. I usually describe it as the international line, the UN line of all the different nations that ride the subway, which I can tell on the weekends when they all dress in their different nationalities to walk down Fifth Avenue. I take them there, I bring them back. New Year's, Times Square. What I could say, being a conductor on this line in the transit system, I was once homeless in New York City, sleep on the trains and nightclubs. And I'm doing this now for close to 21 years, which I always tell the rest of people that I work with or trainees, people that I train, be respectful to the people that you see out here. You don't know who they were yesterday, because I was one of them, all right? And thank you for the appreciation. It means a lot to all of us that works down here in New York City Transit. Buses, trains, conductors, railroad, whatever, at least to see that we get something back. That's all I could really say at this time. Thank you so much.
I also had a chance to start the morning on pre-bus checks at Michael J. Quill. So our bus operators, before they even pull a bus out, will do a loop to make sure the bus is in good working order. Frank Inacaro changed a broken windshield wiper blade. We timed him. We're going to keep him in management. Let's just say that. But Kermit Baylor, one of our best bus operators in the system, out of Michael J. Quill, I'm going to ask him to say a few words as well. But again, these two gentlemen are representative of the 47,000 men and women at New York City Transit. Kermit? Come on up.
Thank you all for me being here. I have 18 years with Michael J. Quill. I love this job. Safety is my goal every morning. I appreciate on the surface line that I drive all buses in the hub of Manhattan. I think it's the greatest hub of Michael J. Quill because we see a lot of ethnic people from everywhere, which way, tourists, and I like to meet people every day. I appreciate Frank for actually making this day for me. I really do, and everybody here. So thank you for letting me be here for National Day.
All right.
And everybody back there, appreciate everyone. Thank you.
And I think I'm now going to kick it over to my partner, one of my partners in crime, Kathy Rinaldi, the president of Metro North Railroad. Kathy.
Thank you, Rich. My name is Kathy Rinaldi. I'm the president of Metro North Railroad. So Metro North recently celebrated its 40th anniversary, 40 years of carrying people throughout the region. And, you know, I'm very proud to say that of all the MTA agencies, we have the highest rate of customer satisfaction, survey after survey. And why is that? Because we've got amazing, amazing employees. It's the employees who are delivering unbelievable on-time performance. It's the employees, some of whom are here today, who are keeping the iconic transportation facility right upstairs as pristine and beautiful as it is. People who maintain our tracks, maintain our trains, keep everybody safe and keep everybody moving. These are hard, hard jobs, and our employees do an amazing, amazing job. And I just want to express my appreciation and the appreciation of all of our customers for what they do every day. One of those employees who I've known since he was in the security department, then he was a conductor, and now he's in 25 track, is Tyler Wolf. He's now the district superintendent of terminal operations here at Grand Central. I spent my duty this morning was to spend a little bit in 25 track, which controls train movements in and out of the terminal. It's really the hub of the transportation operation here at Grand Central. And I'm going to call Tyler up to talk a little bit about what he does and how special this day is for all of us. So thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for being here. Kathy, thank you very much. And all the agency heads, Jano, thank you very much. It means a great deal to all of us to have this special day where we can appreciate all the work that goes into running this monstrosity of a transit system. Not just Metro North, but New York City Transit, the buses, subways. I apologize if I miss one. As President Rinaldi did mention, I've known her since my days in the security department. So May will be 11 years with Metro North. I started here as an intern while I was at Manhattan College, and I never left. They pulled me in. I was in the pass office, printing passes that many of you at the MTA have. And then I took a leap. I took a challenge. I became a conductor, changed my entire life, and it sure changed my life for the better. Conductor, train master, now district superintendent, terminal operations, helping maintain the service delivery function for Metro North every day. Even on the bad days, which unfortunately we haven't had in a while, but even on the bad days, we know we have a great staff behind us from the board, Jano, Kathy, everyone down the head of the transportation department. I see three of them here, Joe, Chris, Michelle, thank you guys. I don't want to take any more time, but thank you all for today. Appreciate it. And if you ever want to stop by 25 track, just knock on the door. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Rob Free, acting president of the Long Island Railroad. I'll try to be brief, but there's so much you could say and go on about our incredible workforce here at the Long Island Railroad. But it's a pleasure to be here today as we celebrate our most important asset, our employees. Mary Kay Ash, founder of Mary Kay Cosmetics, once said, "Everyone wants to be appreciated. So if you appreciate someone, don't keep it a secret." So I want all our employees to know that their hard work is recognized and truly appreciated today and every day. I'm proud to say that I began my Long Island Railroad career as a station cleaner. And today I went back to my roots, put on a uniform and went to work. I was all ready to go. But I did notice some differences from my younger days. To start, it felt like the platforms got longer and the garbage bags got heavier. I also found that I'm no longer qualified on the trash receptacles. They are much more complicated than they were years ago. I thought the supervisor I was with today, John, was going to disqualify me and send me back to my office. But it was great to be out there with the employees. I really enjoyed it, seeing all the incredible work that they do every day. We often talk about the customer, forward-facing employees. But today, I wanted to highlight some of our behind-the-scenes employees who are part of the backbone of our operation, employees such as machinist Gary Savino, track foreman Joe Famulari, and signal inspector Daniel Ribeiro. Day in and day out, these employees and all the other Long Island Railroad employees put their pride and professionalism on display as we provide a safe and reliable service. Being a railroad employee is extremely difficult and demanding. It requires working in a 24/7 operation in all types of weather and conditions. Not only do our employees operate and maintain the busiest commuter railroad in North America, they are also responsible for the safety of millions of people a year. But what gets unnoticed sometimes is the sacrifice the families of our employees make. The demands of the job also impact their lives, so we thank them as well. And finally, on Transit Employee Appreciation Day, please join me in thanking our employees for the miracle they perform every day. I'd now like to ask Daniel Ribeiro to come up and say a few words.
Hi, thank you, Mr. Free. I've been a Long Island Railroad signal inspector for 11 years. I started 11 years ago as an assistant digging holes out on the East Side Axis, and now it's spectacular how I'm working as a signal inspector and to see all our fruition come to be. What I love about being a signal inspector is we really are the unsung heroes of the railroad, in my opinion. People ask me, what does a signal inspector do? Because you really don't see them. But we really are the lifeline to move trains safely. And I'm proud of that. And I'm proud of all my fellow crew members and my fellow transit workers. And I look forward to many more years working here. With that, thank you very much.
I think that's the program. So let's, go ahead, question.
All right, first question from Andrew Siff of WNBC. Andrew, good morning.
I have two
Now, good
questions.
afternoon.
One for our 7 train conductor, Courtney. Just based on what you described with your background and the empathy that gives you, I wonder what's going through your mind in these recent months where there have been so many conflicts on trains, maybe not on your line, but you've heard so many of these situations between passengers. What goes through your mind, and what's your advice to fellow passengers about this?
Well, to start off with, if I think about every incident that takes place, I will stay home. I was hired to be a conductor. I go there every day. Your job could be just as dangerous as my job, which everybody's job is dangerous. You don't know who you run into. But that does not deter from what I was signed up to do, what I was trained to do, and to move New York City. Good, thank you.
Question for Jano is, we've heard Governor Hochul talk about the scout teams and increasing the money for that to $20 million, so you'd go from 2 scout teams to 10 scout teams.
Yeah.
But one question seems to be these teams don't tend to approach the folks who are actually on subways because that's NYPD jurisdiction, and you guys, the scout teams, tend to focus on Grand Central and Penn Station. Is there a disconnect there, or how do you get the scout teams to approach more of the folks who are actually on the trains?
Actually, I think we may not have communicated it successfully. The scout teams are entitled, are directed to go anywhere in the system that's in their district, right? So up to now, we had 2 teams. One was kind of Manhattan North, and one was Manhattan South. They are responding to reports of people who are struggling with severe mental illness situations. So whether they're on the platform, they're in a terminal, or they're heading towards the street, or even on a train, those are the people they will seek out based on reports of people who are exhibiting certain kinds of symptoms. It is meant, Andrew, to address the challenge that we all know, which is that normal outreach processes don't seem to connect with people who are really struggling with whether it's psychosis or schizophrenia. We had one fellow that the scout teams brought indoors actually said he believed passionately he was still in Iraq, and he was feeling like he was under attack. So the idea is that the Governor Hochul has emphasized mental health for quite some time. What we're now getting is resources to have a special outreach to the folks who are having severe mental illness, and to do involuntary commitments based on the professional judgment of those clinicians to bring them indoors. 75% of the time to date, it's been voluntary. They've agreed to go along. Sometimes they have to be brought along involuntarily, but it is a new approach that focuses on those people who are both potentially a harm to themselves, and also who are having the most negative impact in scaring the ridership.
All right, next up is Lindsay Tuckman right over here from Channel 7 Eyewitness News. Lindsay.
Hi, thank you. This is also for you, Jano. Just kind of following off that question, can we talk about perception a little bit? Because just waking up tomorrow, like Courtney mentioned, he's going to go to work and do his job. If he thinks about it too much, who would go to their job if they felt like they had to be a police officer and not just a conductor? How do you address the perception of fear that both workers and riders may feel today?
So what our riders tell us in survey after survey, and I'm talking about surveys with hundreds of thousands of people, is they want to see uniformed personnel. They want to see uniformed officers. That is why you are seeing so many cops in the subway system right now. You know, we don't want to have a debate about stats. We have 6 to 7 crimes a day on average, felony crimes, in a population of 4 million, about the population of the city of Los Angeles. If you're focused strictly on statistics, the subway is a safe place. But when you have high-profile crimes, the riders say, we want to see cops, and that's what we're giving them. And it's augmented by other uniformed forces that the governor's brought to bear so that the NYPD can spread their footprint even more. That's good for everybody.
All right, Samantha Liebman down there on the floor from New York 1. Sam.
I'm going to switch gears and talk about congestion pricing. I just want to add.
Let's go on topic first.
But I thought but you're talking about
Sam,
safety.
we're not talking about congestion pricing at the moment.
It's not about congestion pricing. It's tangential to congestion pricing. I want to ask. I rode along with a commuter from Rosedale this morning. He had to take the Q111 bus to the F train, and it took to get to Midtown, and it took over an hour and a half. And it cost $2.90, and that's, a bargain compared to the toll. But, it takes a long time. And I said, well, why don't you take the LIRR?
Is there a question here,
Yes,
Sam? We got to move it along.
If he takes the LIRR, it costs more than paying the toll because he's got to take a bus to it. Are you going to do anything to incentivize people in those transit deserts to take mass transit?
Okay, I got to say, one of the things that I'm disappointed by the whole debate is it focuses only on the driver. We're always focusing on the drivers who come to Midtown, who represent 10%. There's overwhelmingly people who come to Central Business District are transit users. And congestion pricing is going to make their transit system better. That's one big thing. 2 is we have cut the fares on the LIRR in readiness for congestion pricing dramatically for people who live inside the city. And that's who you're talking about. So all of a sudden, there's about a 40%, the cost of an LIRR travel from the part of Queens you're talking about to the Central Business District is 40% less than it used to be. And at $7 in the peak or $5 the rest of the day, it is an amazing deal. So we have created incentives, to your point, we've created dramatic incentives that are much less cost. And broadly speaking, the cost of owning an automobile is more than 5 times the cost of using transit. So there are real incentives for people to get out of their cars and to use transit more economically, even before the kind of cost cuts that I'm talking about. Let's get the next question.
Yeah. Up to the balcony. Greg Mocker is up there from Pix 11.
Chairman, could you characterize some of these discussions with the district attorneys, since we are hearing a lot about the repeat offenders, and the court system has its way of doing things and building a case. Is that really something that you think will have an impact here, along with the more cameras and bringing things in the infrastructure that are making the employees feel safe?
I do. I mean, this is the first discussion, but what everybody acknowledged in that room, and Rich was there, was that there's a very small number of people who are creating wildly disproportionate numbers of crime in the system. There's something like 100 or 120 people who create, what is it, Rich, 30% of the crimes? 20 to 30, what? 20 to 30% of the crimes in the New York City subway system are done by a very tiny number of people. So there was an agreement that we need to focus on people who are extreme recidivists and start to figure out how to get them out of the system and how make sure, whether it's the criminal justice piece or some other program or interdiction, or even something we've been arguing for, banning. You shouldn't be able, the 5th time you commit a crime in the subway system, I don't see why you should be able to walk back into that system the next day. And most of them are not even paying, right? So we're saying we need those extreme recidivists out of the system to protect riders, to protect our workers. And I think that discussion with the DAs will be fruitful. Governor Hochul organized it starting last week.
All right, we got time for one more. Evan Simko-Bednarski's down there from the New York Daily News.
Hey, Jano. So I just want to follow on that question a little bit. I know there's been this meeting of the DAs, and you know, regardless of the numbers, we know that attacks on transit workers have been going up for the past little while. You know, the folks behind you and everybody who makes this system work. Can you tell my readers a little bit more about that meeting? Who was there? How are you feeling coming out of it? Is this going to be productive? What are people talking about?
Let me just take a pass on that and let the governor's office describe. They convened the meeting. They've led this initiative. After a conversation with the mayor, the governor decided to convene that group that met last week, and I want to give them a chance to describe it to you and your colleagues in the press rather than me. Oh, I'm excited because I think this is the missing piece. I mean, remember, the MTA, we have a lot of physical infrastructure that's meant to create safety. We have a lot of eyes and ears. The station agents, amazing resource because now they're coordinating with the cops. All of these employees are professionals at identifying problems and communicating with them. The NYPD is all over the system. What the challenge is, what happens to people after they're arrested for transit crimes? Are we going to see them again in 2 days? So that's where the governor and the mayor have been urging us, along with dealing with the other major sense of impact that creates a sense of disorder, which is the severely mentally ill folks who really need to be helped rather than sheltering on the system. Those are the two things that happened last week as a result of the governor's 5-point plan.
All right, we got time for one last. Ms. McLaughlin back there from Fox News, and then we're going to have to go.
Thank you. So our question, how would you assess the current level of fare evasion enforcement, and what can the MTA do along with the NYPD to have more of a presence at turnstiles to prevent fare evasion?
The question was, how would you assess the current level of fare evasion enforcement? What more can be done? That's the essence of it.
Every day, listen, Chief Kemper, who's the head of transit for the NYPD, has done an amazing job, and he has prioritized fare evasion. He's spoken out about how this is an opportunity to both keep people who have weapons out, keep people who have a history of violence out. And we always say, not every fare evader is a criminal, but again and again, when we go back and look at the guys who did bad stuff, they never pay. They're always jumping the turnstile or going through the exit gate. So we believe in this. I just want to report, newsflash, crime last week. Again, we had a terrible, terrible event last week, but the statistics are still important. Crime last week compared to the week in 2023, the equivalent week in 2023 was down 28%. And the increase in crime year to date that took place in January is now down to 8% for the year. So progress is being made, although we will never, diminish the impact of what those passengers went through on the A train. That is our nightmare, but we are making progress on the numbers.
Yeah, and there were only 5 index crimes in 3 days. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, only 5. All 5 perpetrators were arrested immediately. All right, thanks, everybody. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. And for those watching the news organization's live stream, we're going to send you some B-roll at this time. B-roll coming from the leaders in the subway system and elsewhere this morning. Thank you.
Step lively, step lively. Step lively.
approximately 6 minutes behind scheduled time. The 10:11 train in Grand Central. Moving next track to Grand Central.
Next station would come to the other side. I want you to fall. I'm going to look out. Are you ready to look out? I'll come back.
I'm saying that one of the